As a new member of the fan club, I thought, I'll steal this pick from LT because I'm sure that, he might have
I
if
would have. I
he
would
had the
have. I
chance.
let you pick
Yeah,
first. I would have.
he
I would
did
have
let me
done.
pick.
Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news and commentary on all things Chicago Red Stars, who are currently sitting in second in the NWSL. I'm your host, LT.
And I'm your co-host, Grant.
Grant, there were no NWSL matches this weekend.
Boring.
No Red Stars. I kind of hated it.
Same.
We have been riding this wave of the undefeated Red Stars, and not getting to watch the team out there was just kind of sad. It's just really sad.
Do you know what? I think the players, well, some of them, can get a break, and that's nice.
That's true.
Come back and regroup to continue being undefeated. But yeah, I've missed the Red Stars. So I'm excited for the return on the field
Yeah,
this weekend.
absolutely. There was a lot of players going to Cubs games and Fire games, and just getting out, finally, like new players getting to go experience some more of the city and its sports culture. So that, I think that was pretty good for them, most definitely.
Cubs, boo. I just gotta put that out there. But
I as I said before,
I just have to put it out there.
no one's going to a Sox match when your
I don't
star
want
player's
anybody to go to a
husband
Sox
plays for
match.
the Cubs. Yeah, no one's going to
Keep
go
them
into a
away.
Sox game anyway. No freaking way.
I'm not going.
That's not
I'll tell you
happening.
that much.
I did think it was funny that there were players there at the Cubs game, and then Mal's over doing She Believes and isn't even there. So that was funny. But Dansby was supporting her, wearing her kit as he walked into the stadium. So that was pretty cool. But luckily, we did get to see some Red Stars out there playing internationally this weekend. Natalia Kuika and Nadia Gomes played with Finland and Portugal, respectively, in the European Championship qualifiers. Then Alyssa Nair and Mallory Swanson for the US and Julia Bianchi for Brazil played in the She Believes Cup. Well, Julia didn't make it into the match, which is lame, but Alyssa Nair got the start and goal against Japan. Mal got her first start and minutes for the US since her injury, 364 days after that injury.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, like, we can just talk about how amazing Mal looked. Like, we have talked about her play domestically and how she kind of looks like definitely getting very close to being back to the Mal that we all remember. But like, just think about this. Mal goes down 360 days before this match, like 1 year almost to the day. The amount of times that date would be like rattling around in my head if I was injured would be insane. Mal comes out, says like, I'm not afraid. I have no hesitations. I have no fear about playing again. And she really showed it. Like, she looked exactly like she did when she was in her top form before the injury, dominating defenders on the dribble, outpacing everyone, making the correct runs, staying wide when she needed to instead of crowding the middle of the lane, which was like a huge issue in the World Cup. Um, she looked confident, fearless, and like the Mal that we all know. And obviously, she was excited to be out there and maybe a little too like eager to get those goals. so she didn't finish whatever she started. So no goal to her name, but she played 78 minutes, more than any of the other forwards, and that was her first match back. Like, she was incredible, and I cannot wait for more when she plays in the final on Tuesday when this episode comes out.
She's gonna tear it up against Canada. I'm excited for that master class. I apologize, kind of, to the Canadians that have to watch their team fall apart because of Mallory Swanson, but it's so over for you guys.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever play with that much like fearlessness after an injury. Like, she just isn't human. She's a superhuman. Uh like, she'll be the leader of this team come Olympics time. Maybe with all of like the young talent coming up on the forward line, it may have been a struggle getting into the rhythm again to be a starter for this squad, make that 18 player roster, but it was not for her. Like, she just looked like she had never left. And I have no doubt that she'll be on that 18 player roster. Like, you cannot get on that plane without her.
She was deeply missed at the World Cup, so it's too obvious for Emma Hayes. She is going to be that player at the Olympics. Clearly missed in the World Cup, but I'm ready for her to take over the world, Mel
Yeah.
Swanson domination.
It was the same feeling like prior to the World Cup. Like, do you remember that feeling when it was like it felt like Mal's team? It felt like everything was kind of built around her for
Yeah.
her. And then she gets injured and it was like looked like just a scramble to be like, well, maybe you can play like Mal. Maybe you can be Mal. And then like no one could be her. No one could.
You can't replace
You
her,
can't
you know.
replace her. You cannot. And like the fact that they did not make the adjustments necessary to um, rebound from losing her was very glaring. And I think the way that this team performed against Japan offensively, and then also just on that left wing in general, will was like the first step, and this next match against Canada will be the next one, and then I think there's only a few more matches until the Olympics. Um, but you'll just see how much this team needs Mal on the pitch at all times.
She's the glue that holds everyone together. That's the only way you can describe it, really.
Yeah, and speaking of players that you can't get on the plane without, the US's press and defense didn't allow much to get to Alyssa apart from the goal 40 seconds into the match. But that was Japan just absolutely blazing past the defenders, and they slotted a perfectly placed ball past Alyssa's outstretched arm for the goal. And like, Alyssa had some pretty good saves on what did make it to her after that, but the defense, especially the forwards, really kind of stepped up defensively, not allowing Japan to get anything near her. And if you can play like that against a team like Japan, who I'm pretty sure I heard after the match that they had like a plan A, and the defensive press of the forwards just totally destroyed their plan A, and they could not get anything else going for Japan. So that's they did not look like themselves, Japan, most certainly. But just watching Alyssa play, just it is what it is. She's Alyssa. We've talked about her plenty of times, and
We all
uh,
know what she's about.
number one goalkeeper for the United States women's national team. She'll be on that Olympic roster. I have no doubt. And
She's gonna be starting. No doubt.
She'll be starting against Canada, and the US will play Canada in the She Believes Cup final the night that this podcast comes out, Tuesday, April 9th at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm sure Mal and Alyssa will be in that starting 11 again. So there we go.
Love a good 6 p.m. kickoff. What a random time, but
Hey, that 12 or 11:30 um kickoff for the
yeah, that
first
was
match,
bad.
I made plans at like 1 and I was like, "Wait a minute. I thought this was a night match." Goodbye those plans. Watched the US match instead.
I couldn't cancel mine or else I would have
No.
watched. But
Mine was just going to another soccer match, so I just didn't go to that soccer match.
soccer,
Yeah, soccer, it dominates my
which
life.
which one?
Detroit City FC.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. You
yeah,
know,
I think you made the right choice.
I'm waiting for their women's side to start, and then I'll go to plenty of those matches.
There you go.
But to bring things back domestically, the Red Stars are undefeated, as we mentioned, with 2 wins and a draw to their name. This hot start is thanks to the new culture of the team, new coaching staff, the players, new and returning. And Grant, I wanted to take a little bit of time to just briefly go over how we got to this point, what we think the club's performance has been like so far. So how do you think the club has been doing? Like obviously their record says they're doing well, but like what are they doing well?
I think the key to all of this, like we discussed before, is our center backs. Like they have been absolutely phenomenal. Um, right side of the field specifically also has been doing well. Um, whether it's Rawl or Hawking or Bike, you know, absolutely killing it. Um, I wish that everything could mesh well. Not wishful thinking. I think it's just it takes time, but I really like how off-field energy is too, and I think that's super important. So I'm gonna add that into the mix. Just creating an environment where everyone can be together and just respectful of one another, all of that jazz. So team environment probably is helping them a lot, especially Team Bonnet at a Cubs game. Yeah, I just wanted to throw one more jab at that before I was done. But yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The team environment. I think Lauren has really made a world of difference there. You can see that the players are happy, they're having fun, and some of them are playing better than they've ever played in their careers. And I think that's all thanks to the new environment that's been created in that club. It's so nice to have a coach that is not only a player's coach, but also a coach that can get the best out of them on the field, knows how to make tactical changes to improve the second half of matches. Specifically, that's like one area that they've been doing really well in is their second halves have been better than their first halves, and that is all due to the changes that they make. Obviously, they keep getting off to these like slow starts, which is something that really needs to be kind of cleaned up. But I don't think there's much more to attribute the impact of the environment off the field translating to on the field performance. It's just a completely different team than the last several years. It just feels so much different, and the results are showing that as well.
good vibes equals undefeated.
Yeah. I agree. The even the league account is talking about the vibes of the Red Stars. So
Surprise, surprise. The Red Stars have good vibes now.
yeah, no more bad
Crazy.
vibes. Get that out of here. But a lot of that can also be attributed to the players, just in general, like the players, the returning players, and their effect on the new players coming in, and the relationships that they've built with them, and then just the quality and both on and off the field of the character level of the new players coming in, I think has really made an impact. So the club really wouldn't be where they're at without the players, of course. So I thought it would be fun to give our top 6 players of the year so far. Grant picked 3, I picked 3, and Grant, you can go first. These aren't in any particular order. When this isn't
Mm-mm.
like the best player to the 6th best player or whatever.
I'm not
But
ranking.
who's your top player? Who's your first top player?
My first one is Maxi Rawl. Like I've said previously, surprise of the season. Even though the season really just started. But I think she's just been killing it. And I think that she is underrated and we need more people to pay attention to her and what she's doing. Actually, I might take that back. Let's make sure that nobody knows about her so she can kill it and get away with it and not have all this attention drawn to her. So forget what I just said, everybody.
Stay off the scouting reports.
But yeah, I just think that the front office was killing it with their off-season moves, and to get her on this team has just been great. And I love what she's doing. I really do want to see her have more goal involvements, whether it's scoring or assisting. I just think her in that right back spot has been just perfect for us.
As you said, surprise of the season. Absolutely. We've said it last week. We said it the week before. I expected her to maybe come off the bench. I did not expect her to be a starter, let alone play 90 minutes in all 3 matches so far. Um, already has her first NWSL goal, plays a ton uh, with a ton of energy, is developing chemistry with the players on the right side of the pitch, like Julia and Jenna and Penelope, and she's just a blast to watch. Don't you think? She's just fun. Like we need players like that. Um, as we talked about, I think either last week or the week before, there's like flashy players and then players that just kind of do the job. And I think Maxi's very quickly developing into one of those flashy players where she's just very noticeable. Like everything that she does just stands out. She leads the team in shot blocks. She leads in pass blocks, touches, pass attempts, scored a goal, as I mentioned. Like, what more could you ask for from your right back in 3 matches? I just think she, like you said, she's just been the perfect fit for that spot this season.
Who you got?
My first choice for top player is a listener. She is in the form of her career, is playing lights out on the national team, was tested immensely in the club's first match of the year against Utah and didn't allow a single goal in that. And since then has allowed 1 goal to Seattle on an absolutely like stellar, unstoppable shot, and then one to Orlando on an own goal um, by the team. So by this time last season, they had already allowed 7 goals. After 4 matches, it was up to 12 goals
Oh
against
my
us.
god.
So, yes, the defense is different, the opponents are different, but one other thing is different, and it's that Alyssa is playing the best that she's played in a long time, and it's helping this club win matches.
She's just a beast. We could have one whole episode dedicated to Alyssa Nair. Just how phenomenal she is.
I kind of did, didn't I? Didn't I
I
make one
just
like early on?
you could make multiple. We could talk hours and hours and hours on end. It's just I get to a loss of words when it comes to her because I feel like she's just done everything, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's your second pick?
She on a bike
Yeah.
as a new member of the fan club. I thought, I'll steal this pick from LT because I'm sure that, he might have
I would
if
have. I
he
would
had the
have. I
chance.
let you pick
Yeah,
first. I would have.
he
I would
did
have
let me
done.
pick. So, with Penelope Hawking out with a concussion, Jenna Bike got into the starting lineup, and with 2 games under her belt as a starter, I think she's proven that she deserves to be a starter. And I just love how she has a whatever it takes mentality. Her game has grown, after being waived by Gotham and coming to Chicago and being underutilized last season and all of this growth that has happened. She has been absolutely stellar. And there's not much more you can ask from her. And she's just willing to do whatever, And I just there's not much more I can say on that except that, Lauren, keep her in the lineup, please. I beg of you.
Yeah, I know we talked about Jenna a lot last week after the match that she had. But in an era when the club was in this transitional period where top players were leaving, top players were not coming to this club, they signed Jenna off of waivers, like you said. And I knew we had something special when I saw some Gotham fans talking about how, Chicago got a good one and we absolutely did. Absolutely. Every single time that Jenna steps on the field, she makes an impact. Like I said in the last episode, the scoring will eventually come, I think, but for now, I will take her energy, I will take her strength, her speed, her connection with Mal over anyone else's. It's it's no contest for me right now. I think they need to find space for her in that starting 11. She leads the team in assists with one, she's tied. Uh, Fouls drawn, uh, more specifically, fouls drawn that led to shot attempts. Um, she is just committed to getting in there and doing the dirty work. And I want to watch her succeed. And I believe she has the potential to be a name on this club that people outside the club start to recognize. She has things to work on, of course, but the work that she's put in the off season has clearly paid off. And neither Bay FC nor Utah Royals took her when the Red Stars left her unprotected in the expansion draft. And I think they'll regret that.
I think those teams look back now and are just like, we really screwed ourselves over. We have talented players as to other teams in the league, but we are underrated and we are coming for you, so y'all better watch.
I know that there's like not a lot of picks to protect people.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if I expected Jenna. I don't remember if I expected Jenna to be on that protected list when I was like counting through players, but I do think that it was a mistake that clearly paid off for them. Um, they didn't lose her. I thought if they were going to lose anybody in that unprotected list, it would have been her, but they didn't. And here she is, 2 matches straight 90s, performing well on Thought Mob. She has the highest average rating on the team. So that's a player who was a 10 to 15-minute player a match last season that is now one of your top players through 3 matches. And I think that just kind of speaks volumes to her development and where she can go from here.
Household name coming soon.
But speaking of development, my second pick is Julia Bianchi. Of course.
Of course.
Julia looks a million times better than she did last year already. And she played well last year. This isn't like a bad player who suddenly is good. This is like a good player who I sat there and was like, this is going to be a player that everyone needs to watch because she will develop like crazy. And she absolutely has. They moved her to the right side of the pitch where I had been wanting her to be moved to for a long time. I did not like her on the left side. Her passes look better. Her backtracking to the ball looks better. Uh, so does her defense, and she scored her first NWSL goal, which I'm surprised I didn't lose my voice screaming about. Uh, she leads the team in progressive passes, tackles, and recoveries. I will never shut up about how good Julia is, and especially how good she will become if she keeps on this development pace. I trust that Lorne will make her a standout midfielder in the league. She has the mentality for it, and the Red Stars better extend this woman's contract soon.
Exactly.
They need to extend her, extend Julia.
We're waiting patiently, but we're waiting.
Tock, tick tock. Where's the contract?
She is definitely the future of this team, and I just front office hurry it up, actually. I'm not being patient about this anymore. I hope she gets a lot more Brazil call-ups too. I hope she becomes a regular soon. No, it's a very competitive squad, but I feel like this is gonna be her season, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for, just MVP, the pathway to MVP. The slow development, maybe, but time will tell, of course. I think she's gonna ball out all season and be just killer in the midfield, silent killer, as I've said.
Yeah. I, like this club has really, for many years, been about the midfield. Like the names that people say about the past of this club and who the leaders were, who the players who just did everything to make sure this club won were midfielders. And I think Julia is becoming that, especially with her partnership with Carrie Riccaro. I think those two together are just as solid as you could want in a midfield. I'm sure there's plenty of clubs that would die to have that midfield, as like we would say like when Julie Ertz or Vanessa Di Bernardo or Daniel Colaprico were like the midfield that was like teams would die for that. And I think we're getting to that point with Julia. She is obviously young. She has things to develop, but when she's on, like she is on, she just destroys in matches. She's just a killer, and the way she looks this season is just kind of I'm not shocked by it, um, because I saw it coming, but I, for some reason, am still shocked by how good she looks. I like last season, I'm sitting there like Julia will be the player next year, and here she is like being the player, and I'm like, wow, where did this come from?
You got
uh
that goal on repeat in your head, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I need to go back and rewatch that match so I can hear the call so that can ring around in my head for the rest of my life. But moving on, who's your final pick for our top
My
6?
final pick is Sam Staub. Absolutely lethal. I think our center back duo could possibly be the best in the league. I'm gonna throw that out there, and people can come at me, whatever. I think it's a fact, and I'm not gonna back down from that. Um, I can't. I just when I think about draft day and all the craziness that happened that day, I still cannot believe that we have Sam Staub. And it's just so amazing to have her a part of this team. And I'm thankful for the front office for bringing her to the Red Stars and the new contract that she got, all of that. Just thank you. I wish I could send a little card in the mail to you, expressing my gratitude. But she's just been phenomenal, and I love watching her highlights. I just cannot stop watching them. She's just too good, and I still am in disbelief that she's on our team and that she's a Red Star. And I'll leave it at that.
I know. Like, how did we get Sam Staub? 3-time Iron Woman, one of the best center backs in the league, missed long throw in herself, the
Hmm.
golden left foot. Like this was like the trade of trades in the off season, and she is not disappointing. She has been everything to this club this season. She leads the club in shot creation, interceptions, clearances, crosses, second in shot blocks, um, which is very important aspect to this team defensively right now. Like the amount of sh- shot blocks and pass blocks that like Natalia has been getting and Sam has been getting and Maxi have been getting. Uh, that is like what is keeping us in matches right now is their shot blocking ability. And I cannot believe my eyes that she's on the field where with the Red Stars wearing the crest. Like I cannot wait to watch her keep growing. It's not like she's this old veteran player that we've brought in. Like she's been in this league for a while, but she's still very young. And like watching her grow for the next 3 years that she's been given for the Red Stars in that contract extension, which happened after one match with the club, is insane. Um, which also just goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the environment of this club, how the culture has changed, the environment has changed, and it has led to a player like Sam Staub playing one match, going through a preseason and playing one regular season match with this club, and has now signed a contract extension so she can stay here after a trade that she probably did not know anything about or expected. So that should just tell you everything about where the club is at right now.
People are going to be lining up to come join the Red Stars, and I'm excited for next season to see, who possibly wants to join the team, but from one incredible offseason to hopefully another, like Chicago is the place to be. Jump
Yeah.
on the bandwagon while you can.
And another, like, for the players that they did get in the offseason, and a lot of them were before they even had a new GM or before Lorne even started his responsibilities in person, to go through an entire season with that GM and with Lorne, however they perform this season, is just going to lead to an even better offseason next year. And that's really exciting to think about. But just speaking of Sam, right next to her, who we've also been alluding to, is my next pick, Natalia Kuika. I had a hard time with my last choice. It was a toss up between Mal and Natalia. I ended up going with Natalia Kuika because we've talked about Mal, I think, a, a little too much, maybe. Never too much, but
Oh,
enough.
she got a mention in the beginning, she's got
She did.
national team
We already
duty and
praised
all
her.
that. Unanimous pick.
Unanimous
So,
pick. She's she's Mal. She's on another level. She's off this list, but on it in some ways, in most ways. But Natalia, the fact that Portland let this player walk is hilarious.
ha.
Look at how bad Portland's defense is right now, and tell me that it isn't at least partially due to the loss of Natalia Kuika. Uh, it's very obvious. On January 17th, I said that the Red Stars needed defenders, and a player like Kuika would be an amazing get. On January 18th, the next day, the club announced that they had signed Kuika. And what a signing it has been. Her partnership with Sam, which we've already talked about, is ever growing. Those two are just playing lights out. She leads the team in passes completed, pass completion percentage, total distance of passes by a field player, shots blocked, carries, total carrying distance, total progressive distance carried, is second in clearances, is second in total blocks. She's just all around doing all of the defensive work, plus getting the ball up the field. We've talked about possession, we've talked about the passing accuracy. She is not the one that is the issue here. She is the one completing passes. She is the one getting the ball up the field. And she's doing it quietly, like we mentioned last week. Like, I think you said, like, I forgot that Natalia was even there or
Yeah,
something.
I didn't know where she was on the field. I was like, where is she at?
And yet she was the one doing all of the work. It was wonderful to watch. We don't have to talk about uh, the non-issue that she got into with the whatever that whole thing is, that
It's not real. It doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist. There's not a YouTube video of Pro saying that she should have been red
No.
carded. That doesn't exist. That's not out there. But
It's
she's
fake,
having a
actually.
it's fake. Yeah, someone just made a video themselves independently, somehow got it up on the Pro referee YouTube
Hack the
page.
account.
Yeah, it was
Shame on them.
ridiculous. She is having a huge impact on this team, and moving her from fullback to where she played in Portland to center back where she plays internationally with Finland was the best choice that this club could have made because it made for us not having to play a rookie there, it made for Maxi to be able to shine at that right back position. Um, she's doing the work. Like that's all I'll say. Like she is just that player that isn't flashy, isn't gonna be the headline, but she is the one making one of the biggest impacts on this team right now. And she will help carry that defense with Sam and anyone else on that line that comes in or starts or whatever. But she and Sam are the pillars of that defense, and they will carry us to the playoffs. I'm sure it will happen. I feel. But there's our top six players on the Red Stars so far this season. Um, we'll see if that list changes as the season goes on. I'm sure a couple of names will swap out here and there, maybe, especially since we left Mal off the list like a couple of fools. But if you want to hop in our Discord or tweet us or whatever who you think your top six players are, I think that would be really fun. Maybe I'll throw a poll out there and we'll just talk about who everyone's like number one is, whoever gets voted in that poll. But these players left off the list will have the opportunity to hop onto that list with the Red Stars going up against Angel City this weekend on April 13th at 8:30 p.m. Central Time at SeatGeek. If you're not at the match, you can watch it on Ion, but they'll be playing Angel City. Angel City is 0-1-2 with a -3 goal differential. They just lost to the KC Current, the number one team in the NWSL, who keep getting themselves into these like high scoring shootouts. Angel City has a lot of attacking ability. Claire Emsley always scares the you know what out of me. She's always dominated the Red Stars. It's very annoying. They also have Sarah Gordon, and with how poorly they've been playing offensively centrally, and on that left side, the Red Stars, I worry that Sarah will help us continue that trend, but hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Just want to bring up the Kansas City game,
Oh, absolutely.
because they looked quite a mess, and I was watching and I was like, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong here that needs to be? And it was everything. I couldn't pinpoint. I was like, I need to figure it out. And I was like, I can't because nothing is working for them. I
Yeah.
still can't figure out if Kansas City is actually good or if they're just playing really bad teams.
I can't figure that out either. They clearly look good offensively. It's just how bad are the defenses that they have been playing. I love that Vanessa DiBernardo is having herself like a career year
Yeah.
trajectory so far. Like that's been really fun to watch. But Angel City just like last season when they uh, brought on Becky Tweed as their interim coach, they would like went on this run and were performing incredibly well, and she was getting the best out of like every single player, and they just looked great. And then they hire her as the full time coach. They come into this season and just flat. Like they don't look like they have an identity right now. Um, Last season, the Red Stars won 2-1 and drew 2-2 with Angel City. I'm not a huge fan of like looking back at past matchups, especially between last season and this season, as the club is so different. But Angel City has never really been a problem for Chicago, apart from a 1-0 loss back in 2022. But that's an even further away like matchup and teams to look at. Um, but now they're without Savannah McCaskill, who was pretty much their best player last season. Not sure that's doing well for their midfield right now. Um, but they have Kennedy Fuller, that 17-year-old, I think she is. She's playing really
Yeah,
well
yeah.
in the midfield, and really holding her own in the pros. So it'll be interesting to see how that midfield matches up with ours, because they also have like Amadine Henry and Maggie Doherty Howard, and like they have a good midfield, but it's just like everywhere else that it just seems to be an issue right now. Their goalkeeper Anderson has not been playing well at all, so let's take advantage of that. And unless they switch out keepers this game.
I wanted to bring up McCaskill because I was gonna say, she was a bright spot for them last year. And so for her to not come back, I was like, well, that's not gonna work out for Angel City. And my point has been proven.
And who has
I
it been
I
working out for? San
what?
Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
She's been playing well for San Diego. It's almost like she's a
She's
good
just a
player.
good player wherever she's at. Like she
Yeah,
just kills it.
yeah. She killed it on the Red Stars too.
And I was upset when she left.
Good player.
Stupid Louisville. But I was actually at the Angel City game, the draw, and I just have high expectations for this one, especially since we're such a different team now. Um, I just expect a full domination because honestly, Angel City, I think you're bad, and we're undefeated, so we got a lot riding on this compared to you guys, where it's like, what are we right now?
Do you
Like,
not think, in general, like a team looking for their first win is more dangerous than a team that's kind of on a run?
I don't know. From personal experience, I'll say the team that I work for, we beat an undefeated team. I think they were ranked like fifth in the country too, and nobody thought that we were gonna beat them. We just outplayed them. So if Angel City outplays the Red Stars somehow and beats our center back pairing, which I don't see happening, then yeah, Angel City, you have a win. Congratulations. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm more confident this season than compared to last season when I was at the game. The ending of the Angel City game last year was so I'm I'm expecting a W, and I will be sitting in SeatGeek watching a W happen in front of my eyes. So
Yeah, sadly, I won't be at the match, but I would love to watch win in person. That would be nice. Again, um, yeah, the like I said, Angel City's never really been like a huge problem for the Red Stars, but I mean, it's the sport of soccer, like, and that's why we love this league so much, is because anybody can win on any given day and all that. But yeah, I don't other than Sarah Gordon and Claire Emsley, I really have no fear. And like I said, Claire just scares me.
not even Sydney LaRue.
She's
I'll bring her up.
terrifying. Yeah, Sydney. I mean, like Sydney of like 4 years ago. Like she's still playing really well. She's still playing like a very good player. But the way that Claire Emsley has been playing these last 2 seasons is just, I think, on another level, especially when, um, I think it was in that 2-2 draw, but she was just killing us, and I was like, "Can we please stop Claire Emsley? Let's stop getting her the ball. Someone do something about her." And I don't know if she'll be that big of a problem depending on who we start. Uh, but I mean, we'll find out. I really want to know what kind of has happened with Alyssa Thompson. Is she injured or something?
Thought she was, but
Okay. I just haven't heard
I'm not
much
sure.
about her this season, and she kind of was the talk of the town last season. Um, but you know, I mean, Angel City has the names, the name recognition, the players to get it done, but they just haven't. Um, but I think Chicago is on such a rise right now that I think there's only a few teams in this league that could really put a lot of pressure on them. And I don't think Angel City's one of them. I will eat my words if that's different, but I really don't. Like you said, I'm not afraid of them as a whole.
Yeah, they have just compared to last season, I just don't think that they're the same, and I'm not expecting a lot from them. But who knows?
Yeah. But that's all we have for this week because there was barely any soccer, which sucks. But I hope you enjoyed us talking about the top players of the club so far this season. And just, I hope you've been enjoying the Red Stars play soccer because it's just been a joy, I think, for this entire community, this fan base, to have the club performing the way they're performing, to have the players that they have, and the not just their quality on the field, but the uh, the content and the interactions that people have been having with these players and everything has just been it's been wonderful to experience. And with that, we'll wrap things up for this week, but make sure that you do watch the She Believes Cup final tonight if you're listening to this on Tuesday. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to those platforms to know when our next episode comes out. Make sure that you're following us at Red Stars Report on all of our social media channels to keep up with the latest news between episodes. Don't forget to join our Discord with the link in the description. The next time you see us, we'll be back with game action and recaps, and the Red Stars will be back. I won't be at the match, sadly, but I'll be in the Discord chatting with everybody who is and isn't at the match. But with that, we'll see you next week for another Red Stars report.